Okay, good to go. Good morning, actually good afternoon, and welcome to the November meeting of the Finance Committee. We're in two locations today. One is up here in, well, they're up in Albany, and we're down here in New York City. First up is the adoption of the meeting minutes from the October meeting of the Finance Committee. Can I please have a motion to approve those meeting minutes?
So moved.
Thank you. Second? I got a second from Albany. Thank you. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Hearing none. That carries. We have a matter on the board today. Again, a small one. 1.87 billion PIT sales tax. Matt, you're going to present?
Yes.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, everyone. The Finance Committee is being asked to recommend to the full board the issuance of multiple series of tax-exempt and taxable fixed and or variable rate bonds issued at one or more times with a term of 30 years and an amount not to exceed $2 billion. Although we're seeking authorization under either program, we do expect to issue the bonds under the Personal Income Tax Revenue Bond Program. The mechanics of the two programs are very similar. The major difference is the stream of revenues that secures the bond, sales tax revenue as opposed to personal income tax revenue. The bonds will be issued for new money as well as refunding purposes, and the new money portion will be for authorized purposes, including capital projects for the SUNY Upstate Community College Facility Program, funding capital transportation facility projects for the MTA, funding for state and municipal facilities grants, funding for other economic development projects and or grants, funding for library facilities, funding for the New York State Education Department's longitudinal data system, funding for the New York State Office of General Services for state office building and other facilities, funding for the New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision's correctional facilities, funding for the Office of Children and Family Services youth facilities, and funding for healthcare facilities under the Capital Restructuring Financing Program. Under the refunding portion, we're looking to refund certain fixed-rate bonds which were issued under various programs, including but not limited to the PIT Revenue Bond Program, the Mental Health Services Facilities Improvement Revenue Bond Program, and the Service Contract Program. The refunding candidates were all issued by DASNY or Empire State Development. If the bonds are issued under the Sales Tax Revenue Bond Program, the security features would include semi-annual payments made pursuant to a financing agreement between DASNY and the state, and the bonds are secured by a set-aside of 1 cent or 25% of the state's 4% sales tax to be collected pursuant to statute and deposited in the Sales Tax Revenue Bond Fund. The current debt service coverage on all outstanding sales tax revenue bonds is 3.3 times. If the bonds are issued under the Personal Income Tax Revenue Bond Program, which it is expected, the bonds will be paid by the semi-annual payments made pursuant to the financing agreement between DASNY and the state, and the bonds are secured by a set-aside of 50% of personal income tax revenues collected pursuant to statute and 50% of the receipts of the employer compensation expense tax, with both taxes deposited in the Revenue Bond Tax Fund. The current debt service coverage on all outstanding state personal income tax bonds is 7.5 times. And both programs are expected to be rated AA1, AAA, and AA+. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Matt, questions?
I don't have any.
Any from
$2
Albany?
billion.
I just had one or two, Matt. You know, we see the references to the IRS not sort of acknowledging or agreeing that what the state had proposed to try to address the loss of the deductions, and they seem to be obviously not going along with the program. With that, I recognize you can't speak to how the direct impact will be, but do you think there's an impact of this, or how do you see it playing out?
I mean, the guidance from the IRS is that the 10,000 cap, that will be firm. So I think the guidance is that the rule will be set.
And so as a result, to the extent that the PIT program has been changed to increase the amount of revenues collected from 25 cents to 50%, it's actually credit positive.
Mm-hmm. So the increase is actually works to our advantage for actually
exactly, as referenced by the coverage numbers that Matt had indicated for the PIT program.
Right.
Yep.
My other quick question was just the reference to the MTA piece. We don't know what those programs are. That's in the hands of the MTA board, correct?
I'm not sure if it's in the hands of the MTA board, but I do not know which actual sites or what
And we are
locations.
not obviously endorsing where these monies go. This is really in the hands of the various agencies or
Right.
That's
Right.
correct.
authorities who
Right,
get
and the
these
division of
fundings.
budgets.
You're saying, Matt, that you don't know whether they actually have their plans in place now. It's not in their hands. But ultimately the MTA board will make those decisions.
It works out with the division of budget as well. I think the focus is on both entities, division of budget and the MTA.
I see.
But
Okay.
we have not received actual physical locations or
Got it.
discrete project descriptions.
Got it. Okay.
And I also note, just really in memory of our dear departed colleague Sandra, the net present value savings are all taken in the first couple of years, obviously.
Yes, we've seen that when they do take the savings up front, so they can use those in their fiscal planning years, which is typically the first 3 years of the savings.
And we see that typically with these PIT bonds.
That's correct.
Throughout the years anyway,
That's
right?
correct.
Right.
That's correct.
Anyway, okay, any other concerns or questions? Anything from Albany? Wellington,
No,
feel free. You have anything on it? Okay. Okay, hearing none, can I get a motion to recommend approval of this offering at tomorrow's full board meeting? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. I think that concludes our agenda for
Our
today.
deliberations.
Deliberations, yes. Thank you. Hearing any other concerns, none, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. We are officially adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
record.
$2 billion.
$2 billion.
Thank you, Matt.
Are we off the record?
Thank you, Portia.